Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another Missing Wolves post-game live stream podcast thing. The music is still way too loud, but we're here. I'm here, Andrew Dukowitz from Zone Coverage. And today we got Jake Ulrich and Matt Hagemeyer from the Minnesota Please Understand podcast. How's it going, guys? How are you, Matt?
Doing well, man. Excited to talk some Wolves. A little more positive, I think, than it's been in the last week or two. So that's always good to see. But yeah, good to be back. Thanks for having us on.
100%. It's been a weird season where I think I had you guys on in like January, and for some reason this podcast people want to come on it. So sorry it took so long. But Jake, how are you doing, man?
No, I'm good. Good. Yeah, finally getting some nice wins, or just wins, but we'll take it any way we can get them here. So that's just happy to come on the show too after a nice win too, not a depressing, sad loss. So we'll take that too.
Yeah, it's always tough in the content game because I think, if they would have lost to the Jazz, this would be a very popular live stream to hop into.
Yes.
Since they won, I don't know how many people are even going to listen to this, but hopefully it's more than like 6. If it's 6, we might be going backwards in a hurry.
Double digits.
Exactly. Let's get into double digits. For people who don't know Minnesota Please Understand podcast, you guys have been doing it for a while now. I see that you've been going live on Wednesdays more often, or typically Wednesdays, Tuesdays ish. Where can people find you? I want you to plug right off the get-go.
Yeah, I mean, we're on all the platforms, Twitter, TikTok mainly, and then Instagram. We got the YouTube stuff too as well, just for like live streams. So, I mean, if you just search Please Understand podcast, pretty sure no one on earth would have the same title. So that's us. But mostly, we're Minnesota sports stuff. We do like to get into the golf, but we throw that towards the end. That's kind of more of a nice to have for us after we bitch and moan about all the championships we're not winning around here. But you know what? Soon enough, we're going to get there.
I mean, you guys have been busy. The Wild are good. The Wolves are frustrating. Kyler Murray's here. That's something. I don't know if it's exciting, but it is something.
Yeah, I mean, newsworthy. For sure.
All right, let's talk.
Definitely something.
Let's talk a little bit of Wolves. I mean, it just this team just gives you whiplash. They go on their road trip. They lose 3 in a row. They beat Golden State, then lose promptly the next game. Now they've won 2 in a row, and I guess if you're looking back, they've won 3 of 4. I mean, again, I think the last time I talked to you guys was like in January, and I feel like we had the exact same conversation in January. Just like, what are your guys' read on this Wolves team? Jake, I'll throw it to you first.
I don't know, man. It's been a rough March so far for this team. I know he's got a couple of wins, and wins cure all happiness. So everything's good at the moment, but I don't know. It's been real tough. We hit some real lows these past couple of weeks with everybody. So like, not even like Ant's been playing bad, Jay's been playing bad, Jules has been bad. It's just there's very few bright things that we've had this month of basketball. So even if it's a win against the Suns on a road trip or the Utah Jazz, like, we're going to take any win we can get right now and just put our head down for these last 12 and just see what happens when we get to playoffs.
I mean, that's kind of been the season for me, is just like, I guess we'll see if this team can kind of turn it on come playoffs and what that product looks like. I mean, Matt, where are you kind of sitting at with the Wolves?
Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating because I feel like we're kind of just having another Groundhog's Day type of season where, it's looking like maybe we might be in that range for a 6 seed potentially, just given how tough the schedule is. But, and then on the other hand, it's like, well, that didn't hurt us last year. So it does feel like there's, I don't know, for a team that's been to the Western Conference Finals now twice in a row, just kind of the dog days of the NBA season. But, now that we've got this Ant injury, we're kind of getting this little, free trial of what, another style of basketball might look like. And I know it was a Suns back-to-back and then whatever this Jazz team is. So it's hard to really like take take a whole lot away from it, but it seems like we are going to get probably at least another week of this, and the schedule does get tougher. So we will get to kind of see what that looks like. But I don't know, man. It's hard. Like, they're very hard to read because I don't feel like we're always getting like the best effort every night. And even that OKC game, it's kind of like, I didn't feel like we played well, and we were in the lead, into that third quarter. So you see what happened tonight with Denver, and it's like all our expectations are super high. And I think if you just kind of take a 10,000 foot view of all of this, like these kind of losses, some of these ups and downs happen with every team. We're obviously locked in on our team, but it's just kind of the ebbs and flows of the season. And let's see if we've got that, Chris Finch era T-Wolves type, sprint to the finish. And if they do so against all these good teams, let's see what the vibes look like, in the second week of April as we head into playoffs.
I mean, you mentioned Denver. They lost tonight to Memphis by 7. And that game 7 is kind of, that's probably giving it some generosity because it wasn't that close. Lakers are right now up on the Rockets, which either of those teams, as long as they don't tie, I think that's good for the Wolves. I don't think you can tie in the NBA, but
so Silver will figure it out. No,
exactly. Like we're looking at a Wolves team now that's a game behind the Lakers. 2 games behind in the loss column, but if Houston is able to come back and win this one, then they're all essentially, the Lakers will have a half game lead for the 3 seed. Wolves and Rockets will be tied for the 4. Nuggets are now lone in 6th. I don't think anything's impossible, but it is kind of crazy how just a win against Utah can mean so much in the standings, right, Jake?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and it would have been nice too if we could have banked a couple of wins on those ugly losses throughout the rest of the season. So we're not kind of sitting here just all of a sudden scrambling right at the deadline, like, oh shit, my paper's due tomorrow, and I haven't even started it yet. So it's just the panic feeling that, of course, we have to find here in Minnesota fans.
It's kind of interesting. We talked to Kyle after the game, and I can't remember who asked him it, but was just kind of like, have you gotten a vibe for this team, like what the feel is? And he was like, it honestly feels like it did 2 years ago, which like checks out. Absolutely checks out. It's the fact that he can go for a calendar year and a half, 18 months, and come back in the locker room and just kind of be like, oh yeah, yep, here we are again. I think that is pretty telling. Logan asks in the chat here, what seed do you think is ideal for us? Any preference on seeding at this point, Matt, or are you just kind of in that we'll figure it out, they need to just kind of get in healthy?
Yeah, I'm almost kind of looking at it like, the decision is like, do you want to first be on the opposite side of OKC, but then you're gonna have to face them at some point anyway, and the Spurs are looking like they might even be right up there with them. I think last I saw, maybe they've added another win. They were like 17-2 in their last 19. So like they're a freight train as well. So it's almost like, what matchup do you want in that first round? And I guess it's easy to say Denver right now. They're in a tailspin like the Wolves community was like a week ago. Yeah. So I don't know. I also, the Rockets too, we saw them once without Ant, so we really don't know exactly how the matchup is going to play out. We probably should have won that game even without him. And then I think the next night we spotted the Spurs 25, and that was the big Ant 55-point game. So we've kind of played them okay. So, get home court, I think is just, the goal at this point. And then the other night, as weird as it was, that game with the Suns was very important to just distance yourself from the floor falling out and being maybe a play-in team now all of a sudden on the same day that the Ant news came out. So it's like, obviously avoid the play-in, get home court. And I don't know, everybody's kind of thinking the Lakers are figuring some stuff out. I don't like to go against them with the referees, but like, if we can get the 3 or the 4 and then have Houston or Denver and be hosting them, I'm feeling pretty good about that.
I for most of the season have been like, I don't want them to draw Denver in the first round and set themselves up for a Denver, Oklahoma City, San Antonio like playoff run to the finals. Like that's gauntlet. Just insane. But I mean, Denver's been so hurt. I just brought it up. I mean, Denver's 5-5 in their last 10. Houston's also been 5-5 in their last 10. I mean, the Suns are on a 3-game losing streak.
The Clippers
said,
are like playing about as good as any of these teams too. Like, hopefully they don't leap into the 6. I think they dug themselves too big a hole. But
the Clippers, since their win over the Wolves, they've lost 3 in a row. So it's just it's madness. I mean, the Lakers have won 6 in a row. I think if you're looking at them, it's like, you know, Luka, LeBron back and healthy, AR. Like, is that kind of big 3, I guess, quote unquote? Is that too much? But then you look at the rest of the Lakers and it's like, that's a lot of DeAndre Ayton and Jared Vanderbilt, which I don't think that's like good. So I'm at the point where I'm like just kind of completely lost. I would rather not see Jokic, I think is my official stance. But I don't know, Jake, where are you sitting at?
Yeah, same. I'm just sitting there with the revolver in my hand and just firing it away. Like, just one of these bolts is going to get us. It's just a matter of when. But yeah, I'm not scared of any team, but at the same time, I can also see us losing to any team.
Yep.
It's just, I don't know what poison you want to take first. Like, do you want to just play OKC? I saw somebody comment, get that out of the way first and just go Band-Aid, rip it off right away. And then if we're out, we're out. Otherwise, if we're in, it's like, okay, well, now let's see who's surviving still. Or is it like, do we try and get lucky and find like the Suns or find like the Lakers? So I know the Lakers are obviously a little better than they were last year, but it's pretty much like the same team. It's the big 3 and then just some garbage filling pieces. So I don't know. I don't feel comfortable with anything just at all in this Minnesota Timberwolves organization at the moment. It's just all pins and needles for me.
It reminds me a lot of the Vikings season a few years ago with Kirk, where they had the like most comeback wins or like one-scored wins in NFL history, where it's like they have the capability to beat anyone, but they also are just making things way too close, and they have the capability of losing to anyone. I kind of side with Pack mentality. He says I'll take Houston. Like, the team doesn't look like they like each other. Kevin Durant is like having more burner drama. It's a lot of Kevin Durant, which I don't know if I enjoy. Like, if you can get Houston in the first round and just kind of whoever you get in the second round, I think that's probably the best path. But like, as the Joan Beringer muse brings up, you have to play everyone eventually. Like, you can't really avoid it if you're going for a champion this year, right, Matt?
The West is tough. Like, there's not like you can pick and choose who we might prefer, but it's going to be tough like every series. So, I mean, the question I think is, we can beat anyone. Can you win 4 straight series with the way that this team plays, like Jekyll and Hyde all the time, like over the course of like a 2-month playoff run? That to me is the kind of unanswered question. And we've, had a couple of nice runs here, and then they've just been abruptly ended with pretty bad showings in the Western Conference Finals. So, but yeah, I think Houston, they kind of remind me. I mean, we already went up against Durant once, right? So I feel like maybe that gives me a little more confidence. If we have to just gun to your head, pick somebody, I think it probably would be Houston.
It's also like you mentioned the last 2 years flaming out in the conference finals. Like, that's been this season. Like two weeks ago, Ant was saying it's the most fun he's ever had playing basketball, and then the wheels just fall off on a West Coast trip. Right. And now, I mean, they're back. They've won 3 of 4, and it looks great again. Like, vibes are great. Kyle's doing Bones Selly at the crowd. Like, Mike is getting 4 assists in garbage time.
Joe Ingles cooking.
Joe Ingles dropping 7.
That's beautiful.
Johan's out there getting put back dunks. Like, everything looks great all of a sudden again. Like, yes, it is the Jazz. I do think that Suns win is a little more important just because, like, they at least showed some like grit and tenacity and moved the ball. I mean, I do think what's been interesting the last 2 games is the ball movement, and just like the shot distribution without Ant has looked significantly better, which I'm not saying this team's better without Ant. That would be ludicrous. Like, Ant is the only reason they have a chance for a championship. But like, it does just make more sense when there's not two super ball dominant guys out there, right, Matt?
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's just they're both pretty indecisive. I mean, how many pivots can Julius Randle do in one, post up back down, right? And then Ant kind of is the same way with the between the legs dribbles all the time. And it's like, how often do you hear Chris Finch saying, get off the ball, get off the ball? So it, it definitely looks like it's zipping around and guys are playing more like confident and in rhythm. And then, there's some of the time it's like Ant when he does pass and then guys are missing. And then it's just like, okay, now I am just going to take over. And that can work, which is like
it has worked
a bad habit. Yeah. And it's probably not a good thing to be relying on. And even some of the stuff with like the clutch time, like he's made some shots that you wouldn't necessarily consider like good offense. It's just an amazingly talented player. And it's easy for those guys to just rely on that when he's out there. So that's, I think, the interesting thing we're all watching here is like, okay, is this a nice little, change of pace for these guys to build confidence and be like, we don't have to rely on that. We can call our own number a little bit more. And I think we're all probably looking at Jaden to be a little more assertive, but it's like the chicken or the egg. It's like, do you be more assertive or can you not be more assertive because you're not getting the ball enough and stuff like that. So, that's definitely one thing, the ball movement, but like even with all of the Ant and Julius stuff, like our offense is ranked pretty well throughout the season anyway. Right.
Yeah.
So I feel like in these last couple games, one thing that's really helped is just using your defense to create offense and getting out and running and playing more up tempo. And I feel like our defense that's been the thing that's held us back a lot of the season. So, I
kind of brought it up yesterday of just, I think this stretch is going to be really similar to when Julius mistimed after the All-Star break and had to kind of look at this team from afar. And you see all the like proof of concept of like, if you just do this, things will happen. And I look at like Io, 23 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists on 13 shots. All of his shots were basically wide open because Julius is getting gravity. Yeah. Like if Ant can just do that, I mean, obviously Ant's going to do it at a much higher level, but like there is a proof of concept for Ant of like, look at where Io's standing and like, look at how open he is. Like Ant's a 40+% like knockdown, catch and shoot 3-point shooter. I think they're going to get a lot of good film, which, pack mentality says, how do we implement that with Ant?
Yeah.
I think that might be the best thing is just getting a ton of stuff on tape to just bring to Ant and be like, do you see what Io and Bones are doing? Like, we don't need you to be Superman every night. We just need you to be Superman like when the games are close. What do you think though, Jake?
Yeah, no, totally agree. It's just because we got a couple of these pieces now that are starting to show up, like Bones and Io, which have just been huge for us. So it's really have to get those guys just spinning too. And then now that Julius is finally looking like he's back to his old self these past 3 games, which maybe Ant being out kind of helped that a little bit. So maybe you adjust his minutes a little bit too to line up his when Ant takes a break. Those are going to be Jules' minutes, and then kind of run it that way to see what he can do that. But yeah, it's definitely got to be more of a team thing going forward because we saw like the last 5-6 games. That was like some of the worst ball we've seen in Minnesota in a long time, which is it's surprising and it's a little shocking. So
takes you back.
yeah. That PTS syndrome kicked in, hearing the bombs in the background.
I'm going to throw us over to a quick ad read. When we come back, I do want to get your guys' thoughts on just Slow-Mo and TJ tonight because they had some pretty good games. But first, ads. Well, hello. Thank you, Livestream Andrew. This is Ad Read Andrew. And today we have Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, the presenting sponsor for the Missing Links podcast. Firehawk Construction and Remodeling strives to inspire people to follow their ideas, working with respect and understanding to create a quality, tailored result. Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, located in Blaine and serving in the North Metro area, is here to help you with your building and remodeling needs. I can say personally, thanks to Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, I have a beautiful deck in my backyard and countless projects that I started, they finished. Get started on your new deck or remodel today by calling Isaac at 763 710-5686. And we're back with another ad read, this time for Pence Homes, the presenting sponsor of Hitting the Hardwood Network. From the best tools and technology to transparency throughout the entire process, Nate Pence and the Pence Homes team is the top choice for buyers, sellers, and is proud to support you and your home ownership goals. Get started today by calling 612-308-1122 or by emailing info@pencehomes.com. So before we get into TJ Kyle talk, Beringer Muse brings up that turnover is still a big problem against good defenses. Completely agree with you. I think that's just the reality of this team is they're going to be like 15th in turnovers every year. Just part of it is, you don't have a true point guard. You don't have a guy that is reliably like able to bring the ball up. I think Io gives you some of that. Kyle weirdly is like really good at bringing the ball up, but like some of the turnover stuff, I think that's just the reality of this team, which is really frustrating. But again, like they're at this point in the season, like they just don't have a lot of moves to clean that up. And with Mike not playing, I think it kind of gives them less options. Either of you guys have an opinion on the turnovers though?
Yeah, I think the ones that are just unenforced or like where the defense doesn't even cause them, where like we're doing a lazy outlet pass in the backcourt. There was a few against OKC that you're like,
yes,
this is just like completely spaced out basketball. Those are the ones that you just can't stand. So if, like you said, it's probably baked into this roster that there's just going to be some of that. And some of that comes with playing at a faster pace that they want to. But if we can, when you have the 20 turnover games, like give me around 10 and I feel pretty good about that. Because some of them too are just like, nice drive. And it was a dump off of Rudy's hands out of bounds. Right. It's like, that's just going to happen sometimes. Unfortunately, it drives everyone crazy, but,
and I know Finch talked about it after the game of just like, I think someone asked, like, how do you keep your team going to Rudy when he's struggling? And he was just kind of like, well, I'm not going to give people sympathy if Rudy drops a pass. Like, it's the right play. Yeah. I mean, Rudy shoots like 70% from the field. I throw his turnovers in as missed baskets at this point. Right. Like, I honestly think if he caught it and missed a bucket, it would be more like beneficial for the eye test. But like, to me, it's just like, just consider him going like 6.5 out of 10 instead of 7 for 10 and chalk the turnover as a missed basket. Like it is what it is at this point. Jake, I did want to get your thoughts though. I mean, Kyle, the last 2 games, I think has been one of the best players on the Wolves. Yeah. I mean, like kind of what have you been seeing out of Kyle that's been so beneficial the last 2 games, especially?
Yeah, just especially with Ant being out, he's the guy that can like facilitate the ball a little bit, bring it up court, and just he calms everything down. It's just not so much of a spaz out, just everybody just running free for all. He just kind of keeps everybody together, tells them where to go, gets them back on defense, even on the other side of the ball too. But yeah, he's been having multiple assists. He's getting rebounds too. I don't know, when we re-signed him, I thought that was absolutely huge for this team. I loved that when we were going to bring him back, not just for the nostalgia because we bring everybody back to Minnesota, but there was a piece that we actually really needed on this.
Bring
team.
Rob back,
an adult on the floor. Yeah, that'll be next year in the trade rumors. Him and Lenny, we got to get back here.
Got the receipt.
Yeah, Lenny's kind of cooking over in Chicago. I'm not lying.
Good for him. Good for him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so crazy with Kyle because, I mean, when he got back, he was kind of telling us at this intro press conference that like he still vacationed with like Jaden and Nas last summer and like met up with the guys in Cabo last like all-star break. And it's like, oh, you never really like left the group chats. I guess it makes sense it makes sense why everybody brought him up for the entire year and a half he was gone. But like, Matt, what's your Kyle experience been like, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, like the way it ended, I remember, in the playoffs, you're like, no one's even guarding him. So like, we'll worry about that when we get there again. But like, he's just kind of a stabilizer. And like you said, he can kind of, what do we need? He can do it. I think the other night he was switched off on Booker and got a strip on him, right? Like he knows where to be on defense and he knows where everyone of his teammates needs to be on defense. And if they're not there, he can think in a split second and cover for them, which was something that Mike was very good at too.
Yeah.
So just inserting some basketball IQ, some additional playmaking. You want to, like you said, keep the turnovers down. And he, like you said, it's weird how he can bring the ball up, and he's had some of those, classic slow-mo drives where he gets to his little floater and it's like a pitcher changing speeds or something where the defender like doesn't really know what the hell he's up against here.
Like literally throws a knuckleball. I don't think people know how to deal with it.
Yeah. It's like, in the league now where it's like, there's never been people as athletic as we've seen. And then this guy's out here, and earlier tonight when he got that ball in the corner with like 1.5 on the clock, I'm like, is he even going to beat the buzzer with that jumper? And then he had a toe on the line, of course.
What's wild, like with this roster, is he has been so good with Bones and Io, who are like the exact opposite. Like they are just flamethrowers as fast can be. And then you have like Kyle running the break with them, which is just, it's weird, right?
Yeah. Fire and ice. It's very unusual to see, but like he's getting those guys running, and that has really been fun to watch. And these last, handful of games, the Bones and Io dynamic, and they've had some globetrotting going on, like in the fast breaks, which is always good for the clips online. But I think that's the way you want to try to play. If your goal is to beat OKC, like you do not want to be running into them in the half court. So like leaning on this up tempo when you can. And again, a lot of that is started on the other end of the floor. So I think that's always been Chris Finch's kind of, motivation with playing faster, is just like, to get to the top of the mountain. Okay. Like that's a nightmare of a half court defense. So I like that they're kind of getting, started doing all that kind of stuff. And Iowa's just perfect at it. And we finally got to see what he looks like in a matchup against OKC, and the returns are pretty good. So, well, I guess, cross that bridge when you get there, but I think that's the motivation behind it.
Like the Nikhil comps are going to be there all season, right? Just because like Nikhil went out, scored 40 the other night. Like I feel like that's just going to be there for the rest of this year. Like it is kind of uncanny how much Nikhil stuff Io does. Like he rebounds, he play makes good enough. He can like just in a blink get to the basket. He doesn't like take bad shots. It's just like a heck of a trade by Tim Conley, because I mean, Rob and Lenny are doing fine. Like Lenny's doing good in minutes. Rob, I think, is still struggling on and off, but like he's getting minutes. But like to get Io for kind of not nothing, because it was like 2 first-round picks essentially that you used to get Rob. So like you're trading essentially like 2 first-round picks, Lenny, and a bunch of seconds. But I mean, if Io's able to re-sign here and kind of be a part of this, like heck of a move by Tim.
Yeah. And needed it, the bench, right? And I think that's another thing that's been interesting the last couple games. The bench has shown up in a big way. And man, that for the majority of this season, that was just a huge issue. And, we were experimenting with Terrence and Clark and Rob, and even just adding Kyle, right? Just another adult in the room that you can get. Like your 15 minutes, he's not going to kill you out there. And if anything, he's going to, be a positive for you. So it's kind of a complete 180 of what it was looking like from off the bench, just, back in even January before the deadline. So they're looking deeper for sure.
TJ went from basically being the 6th guy on the bench to 10th. And like, that's not really a whole lot of fault from TJ. He got hurt and kind of tried to battle through it. But catching up on chat a little bit, Baron J. Muse asks what happens with Clark in the offseason. I'll be honest, I think he's just gets re-signed on like maybe a Gupta special for people that have been watching the Wolves for that long. Like they really like him. The locker room really likes him. He does a ton of stuff in the community in Minneapolis. He likes being here. I think it's kind of a no-brainer to just give him maybe a 1+1 team option deal and see what he can. Like, I think if he's a guy that is your 11th guy on your roster at 22 years old, I think you're pretty happy with that. Logan
100%.
also brings up guys can settle into their roles without Ant for a few games. I mean, Jake, what do you kind of feel? How do you feel about that? Because I do think there is some truth to that like guys can at least get a little bit more confident without Ant, right?
Yeah. We're kind of talking on our pod this week too about how this kind of might be a little blessing in disguise with Ant taking a couple of games off here just to reset everything, let everybody get back into just doing their own thing and run their own offense a little bit, not just so much focused in like it has to be the Ant show or anything like that, where they can just go out there and play, be free, do what they need to do. We already got the expecting to lose some of these games because there is no Ant, but if we end up winning, sweet, that's awesome too. So I think it's just them going out there playing free, getting back into the rhythm, and just kind of vibing with each other and just kind of understanding that they are just like every part matters on this team kind of a thing. And that doesn't always have to be the Ant show, that it is actually the Timberwolves out there trying to play ball.
Yeah, Matt, what do you kind of think about it?
It's a good opportunity, I think, especially if these guys continue to play well, like we've seen in the last two games. Because looking back, the Suns game, like that was a game all the way through. It wasn't like we just routed them, and it was looking ugly for the first half for sure. But and then that should just allow for Ant to trust in these guys a little bit more. Like when you get rid of the ball, man, it's not the end of the world. Like these guys can make plays for you and make your life easier too. And then you're not seeing 2 or 3 people in gap coverage like the Lakers are going to do. So, and just overall trust too. That's the same kind of thing we're talking about with Rudy too. Like keep giving him the ball, even if he drops a couple of them, right? Like we're trying to play the right way. Like just trust with the process over, a smaller sample of results. And then you know what, you've got that lever to pull. Like if it is clutch time, let Ant go be Ant and go get you to the winner's circle. But like this is a talented team of a lot of skilled offensive players. So to just have one guy just dribbling the air out of the ball and doing step backs, even if it does result in a 40-point game, right, and even a win, it could be some fool's gold that you're getting stuck with here, and long term is probably not going to lead to like a sustained level of good play and a deep playoff run. So I think you had a great call with that Julius comp from last year, because he was out. He as soon as he came back, and then everything kind of was firing on all cylinders. So hopefully that happens again.
And like for guys like Jaden getting 15 shots tonight, like that's how you get your rhythm back. Like Io 23 on 13 shots. I mean, you look at this, 5 guys shot 10 or more shots tonight, and like Dante wasn't one of them. I just think there's a lot. There's just a lot that can kind of come out of this for when Ant does come back. And again, to your point earlier, they now have a 4-game cushion, 3.5, 4-game cushion over Phoenix. They don't have to like worry that they're going to lose 3 in a row and they're going to be in a play-in seed. Now it's kind of to that point where 12 games left. Can Phoenix make up 3.5, 4 games? It might be a little out of reach for them to fall out of the playoffs entirely into the play-in. I think it's just, ultimately the most important thing is Ant being healthy for the playoffs. But like on a secondary level, I do think this is going to be good for this team. Last guy I wanted to talk about just before we got out of here is Terrence Shannon, who has had a season from hell. Is probably a little bit dramatic, but like between the foot injuries, between like just never being able to get his rhythm, being on scouting reports, they send him down to the G League, he drops 36, and it's like, well, the guy we can't keep him in the G League. What's he going to learn there? Comes back up here, he's back on the bench. I mean, tonight, just looking at like the box score isn't super impressive. 8 points, 3 rebounds, no assists, but he was a plus 29 in 19 minutes, added 3 steals, I believe, shot 2 for 4 from 3. I mean, I know both of you guys were like TJ fans before the season, but Jake, I'll start with you. Like, how nice was it to just see TJ look kind of like the same guy we saw last year?
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, going into the season, him coming off the bench being like our 6th or 7th guy, I was stoked for, especially what we saw against the Thunder last year. I was like, okay, we'll build on that, and then we'll be rolling good, especially because we knew Nikhil's going to be gone. Need somebody to take those minutes. But yeah, just knowing what he's gone through all season too with his injuries, to finally get back out there and actually get some minutes and some meaningful minutes and play well, just it warms my heart to see it. So I'm happy he's back. Hopefully he can keep this rolling, and hopefully we can even use him come playoff time. Because I'm sure there's going to be a matchup somewhere down the road where Finch is going to know to plug him in again. Maybe it is OKC, and he's going to be ready to go. So I'm all for Terrence Shannon Jr. minutes any day.
Yeah, Matt, I'll throw it over to you.
I was disappointed he didn't get to play against Phoenix. I thought he was going to get an opportunity. He's had a couple little stretches in games leading up to that. I know that it's hard to remember because we played at like 3 a.m. against the Lakers, but he came in that fourth quarter and was
so
like,
bad.
You could see a little rhythm developing there. And it looks like he is back to being healthy. And just seeing him like he's that athletic in a sport with some of the best athletes in the world, and he sticks out over everybody else. So there's some traits there that you just really want to latch onto, and still, you don't want to like just close the door on him or anything. And it's been what else could go wrong for him this year, especially with like the expectation that it's like, hey, you're in the mix now, man. You're the Nikhil replacement. And we were all very confident that he could fill that void to a certain degree, and it just was like just not meant to be. But just the hustle, he had a play sprinting back, knocked it out of bounds. Even you don't get credit for steal or anything like that. But those are the plays, and I think I saw your clip you had of Finch talking about him after the game, where I felt like one of the biggest issues we've had when we went through that little 4 out of 5, just getting our asses whooped, just effort, hustle, stuff like that, man. Like it can go a long way, and just go. I was watching the end of that Memphis game tonight. They just outworked Denver. They had a bunch of guys with a lot to prove, and they showed up ready to freaking play their asses off, right? And I feel like some of our guys, don't always bring that approach on a night in, night out basis. So Shannon, I feel like there's still something there. I know he's older, right? We joke about that all the time. He's older than ants or whatever. But I just want to see that, that jumper a little more consistent. I think the corner 3 has been more reliable, but I'm always interested to see if Finch throws him in, and that's one of the things I think that's tough for him. It's been tough for Rob when he was here. I don't know if I'm getting a quarter. I don't know if I'm getting 3 possessions in the Josh Minot treatment. You don't know your role, essentially. It's tough to stay ready, but I think he'll be heard from at some point.
I'll never forget Joe talking about it last season when Joe kind of started the season, getting those like 4-minute stretches, and everyone on Wolves Twitter
Joe
was
Ingles
like
4 minutes.
right, like why are we giving Joe Ingles 4 minutes in the 3rd game of the season? Like, this is obnoxious. We have the 8th overall pick on our lineup. And like Joe kind of said, like it sucks for young players. Like, you're going in for 4 minutes. If you miss one shot, like you're deemed that appearance is going to be deemed as like a negative asset. If you turn the ball over, it's going to be viewed as like a negative thing. And Joe is just like, it sucks. Like, I'm at the stage in my career where like I don't really care, but for younger guys, like that can ruin them. And I do think like some of that certainly factored in with Rob. I think some of that probably factors in with Clark and TJ too. But I mean, for TJ, I just felt so much for him. I know we joke about like how old he is, but like when Io got traded here, and I was talking to him about like playing in the Chicago circuit, and he's like, yeah, Io's only a year older than me, so like I never played against him because he played up a grade, so technically he was like 2 years older than me and like on the court basketball. And I like had to double take and be like, Io's been in the league for like 5 years, and he's 1 year older than you. Like that.
Wait,
that is wild.
Don't check that math.
that just shows you too, like how valuable all the experience is. And I think someone just threw in the comments, like when you're on a contender, you're not allowed to go out there and kind of just like work on your game. It's like you got to be contributing in your 4 minutes or whatever you get, or we're gonna look elsewhere. So that's tough.
Another thing Terrence does well too, he doesn't go in and just make it his game. He waits for the game to come to him, kind of thing, and he's perfectly fine with that. So some nights he knows he might get a shot, and some nights it turns into 8 shots. You never know, but he lets it come to him. He doesn't force anything either. That's another thing I love watching him play when he does that.
Yeah, his game is just so, like, he's so kind of like overpowering on offense too, that it's like fun to watch him just bowl people over. And then when he is playing well on defense, it again, like, he's just a hyper athlete. I'm rooting for him. Like, I agree with you, Matt. There's gonna be a time, don't know when it is, but like, he's gonna have a moment. Just like I'm convinced Mike is gonna have a moment too.
Yeah, I was like, man, I forgot we even had Mike, but I think I've seen, I mean, you always post good clips of like I don't know if it's post practice or like the guys just kind of working on their game. And I think I've heard Ant say that about Terrence, like he's a worker. So if that's your, like, I feel like eventually good things are going to happen for you. So we just got to be patient.
Exactly. We hit that 40-minute mark though, guys. So I do want to thank you for coming on. We already plugged the podcast, but again, where can people find you? Where can people find you both on Twitter? Please plug your show again. I always try to pop in the live and at least make a couple lewd comments, but
appreciate it.
Gotta support for also live streamers. Matt, I'll give you the floor first this time.
Can I bring up 2 things real quick?
Yeah, of course.
Number one, I remember, I don't know if it was on your pod or if you went on Dane Moore's pod earlier in this season. You were the only one I remember calling Bones Highland as like the X factor, like super early in the year. I remember hearing this and I was like, man,
me and Dane got into it a little bit on that. Dane was like, I was like, I don't know what it is about him, but you just look at like some of his advanced numbers, and Finch is gonna go to him at some point.
I wanted to give you credit for that because I was like, that ended up being a great call. I'm a casual, I couldn't see it. I was like, I don't agree with that. And then the other thing I just wanted to
like writing about this team for 5 years now. There's just certain analytics that you can look at and just be like, that's going to be a Finch guy. And for Bones, it was like his college assist to turnover ratio and like assist percentage was like, Finch is going to give this guy a shot just because like at some point in his career, he was doing this.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, he's been awesome, man. What a cool player to just kind of found money. Reminds me of Nikhil to a certain extent where
absolutely
all of a sudden you got something here you didn't know that you had. And then the other thing I was just going to ask quick, do you know what the prognosis is for Nas?
I'll be honest. I think if this was like a must-win game against Denver, Nas probably goes. But against Utah, against Portland, like he's been dealing with shoulder stuff for the past couple weeks. Now with a rolled ankle, I would guess they probably keep him out until that Boston game. I mean, that's just me speculating, but like it would just make sense. Like you have Johan, he's been playing really well.
Kyle,
you need Nas healthy.
Yeah, like Kyle play a bunch. I feel like that's fine, but I think he was looking gimpy to start that. They showed him a little bit coming out of halftime, and you're like, there's something going on here. He still played, and then he sat for a while, and I think Julius picked up his 5th. And after sitting for a little bit, Nas came in and you're like, uh-oh. And he was immediately out again. And I was like, I was not surprised to see that, but doesn't sound like it's anything like too serious. So
no. Again, I think if it was like 3 seeds on the line, we're playing LA, Nas probably plays tonight. But
okay, good.
You need him at 100%. So even if it helps out with the shoulder by him not playing for a couple games and not like getting thrown to the ground, I think it just makes sense. Like let him sit for half a week and then bring him back against Boston this weekend.
Yeah, he's another guy I feel like that without Ant could use a couple games to get a little momentum and rhythm going before Ant comes back. So hopefully that Boston game is going to be a good one.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. You effectively did none of the plugging I asked you to do. So I'm gonna throw it back to you, Matt, to plug all of your things. And
I got 3 more topips here. No chicken
I'll come
tonight?
on your show anytime, and we can just do topics for 4 hours.
You can follow Twitter at MNPU Podcast. Minnesota Sports Please Understand Podcast is what that stands for. Just search us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. And yeah, Tuesday, Wednesdays, typically around 6, around the dinner hour, depending on when the Wolves are playing. Usually we're trying to just get our live pod going on. A lot of Vikes talk, draft. I mean, we've been sorting through all this Wolves stuff too, just like everybody. Let it be the year. Come on.
Yeah. Jake, where can people find you, man?
Same thing with the pods, with all the things that Hags has said, and then I'm just on Twitter at @VJGallard. So that's all I got from me.
Awesome, guys. Well, if you jumped into this live stream a little bit late, it does get posted up on YouTube and X as soon as I end the stream here. If you can wait until tomorrow morning and would rather listen to it as an audio version, it does come out as a podcast everywhere. I also do have to plug Lynx CBA officially.
Oh, yeah.
They actually can play basketball and nothing's getting delayed. So Mitch Hansen from Canis Hoopus and Winsider and I did about an hour live stream just answering fan questions on the CBA. So that'll be over on the other Missing podcast feed over on the Missing Link side. It's also up on YouTube. So thanks everyone for listening. We'll be back again in a couple days, hopefully after a Portland win. That'd be cool.
Hell yeah.
We could
Awesome.
be so lucky.
Appreciate everyone for listening. We'll catch you later.
Thanks.
Thanks, man.
See ya.